So we're back with awkward author book reviews. You know what? I've been doing paperback so far because visually it looks nicer. It's like, oh, look at this shiny book. My cats are in the background, FYI. That's Chrono right there. She's adorable. But you know what? Most of what I read tends to not be paperback because it's just easier to do ebook. Like my Kindle is stacked with hundreds of books. I'm constantly using it. And I mean, like, I carry it around with me everywhere. So it's way easier than reading paperback, which, I will go through some, but I don't nearly read as much via that route. So, because I wanted to talk about books I'm, reading at the moment, my cat's walking right in front of me. His little tail's like, meow. I was gonna do Kindle ones. And as you can see, we're gonna do A Court of Thorns and Roses, which is a phenomenal book. Holy fuck. So I read this book, I guess early November? Yeah, first weekend of November. It was one of those ones that I started reading it. I had been reading so much paranormal romance this year that I was kind of jiving. I just wanted something different. I wanted to go back to young adult. I love young adult. And I had heard some really good things about the series, so I decided to check it out. And I am so glad I did. Um, I love the way she writes. Like, it's just stunning, stunning prose. The story itself was very reminiscent to Beauty and the Beast, which happens to be one of my favorites. So I really enjoyed that as well. I could kind of see like some, avenues of how things were rolling that way. Um, but the entire story was just captivating. The tale was beautifully, beautifully written, and the prose was just so poetic. There are certain authors, I know I talked about Maggie Stiefvater as one of them, but her prose is just mind-blowingly gorgeous. It's the type that makes me incredibly jealous, and that's the kind I want to read because it's the sort that like I want to read stuff that makes me jealous, that makes me want to write better and become better. Um, I'm so awkward. Yeah. So that book, I mean, the characters are amazing. I cannot say much more about it apart from just read it. Read it now, please. Please do so. Do that for yourself. This author is phenomenal. I mean, I went immediately to reading the second book after, and I'm curious to read her Throne of Glass series. I've heard also really good things about it. But yeah, like everything about this, like Faye really worked for me. I love, 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 love Faye, obviously, because I write so often about the Fae. Um, my series is Fae-centric too, and so, normally though, I tend to steer towards urban fantasy, and this was like straight up fantasy. Like, it got really into like a brand new setting. I mean, one thing I like about young adult fantasy as opposed to adult fantasy actually is I like that they don't gorge you with details. Like you don't know a fuck ton about Prothane. Like you just kind of are given a glimpse and you're seeing it through Fairy's eyes. Fairy, fair, I don't fucking know. Anyway, sorry for my foul mouth. But you're given a glimpse of it, but not like it's not shoved down your throat. I mean, sometimes when I read the fantasy glob monster books, I call them that because I really do think that like a lot of times they could be pared down a ton. But like they'll just inundate you with these mundane details that you're like, okay, I really didn't need to know like the exact shipping schedules of this town or like unless it's pertinent to the plot, you know? But I mean, in adult fantasy, there tends to be this trend, and I know they're trying to flesh out this world and build it and make it really unique and, immerse you in it. But for me, I immerse better through a character with sparse details. Like, it's no different than human beings. we're not going to know everything that's going on in the world. We know what we're surrounded with and what we're interacting with. And discovering it through their eyes, I think, is a lot more exciting than, just getting this big diatribe of like, here's a chunk of text, read all the things about it and learn everything you possibly can about this land and all of the weird customs and all the crazy things that you have to, like, it just, again, gets, especially when like you get the inundation of names too. I'm talking like, okay, here's the name of this place and 5 other places around it and all of their traditions and customs and all these other things. Like, I understand that people like get really in depth into it, and some people love that style of thing. So not for me. Give me young adult fantasy any day because they tend not to like go on too long about that stuff. It's like a little Pac-Man. But yeah, so final thoughts on, apart from my rambling, final thoughts on A Court of Thorns and Roses. Read it now, read it fast, do it, and then talk to me about it. Yeah, thanks. Bye.